Hi, my name is Jackie of Jacqueline Dion Cosmetics and Makeup Artistry. Today I will be your host for how to trim and sculpt your face using makeup. I hope you enjoy our brief webinar, and if you have any questions afterward, please feel free to email me at info@jacquelinedioncosmetics.com. Thank you. The first step to trimming and sculpting your face with makeup is finding the right foundation color. And we're going to go into that in just a few minutes. So many times I get women asking me, why does my face look ashy? Or why is it so oily? Or why does it seem like it's making my face look a little bigger or making me look older? Many times the answer is in the foundation. So we're going to start with selecting the right foundation color for you. The first step to finding the correct foundation color is determining what your skin undertones are. Now this is important because if you're using a foundation that has the opposite base color as your color, it can cause your skin to look ashy, it can cause you to look fatter, and it can cause you to look older. So we want to teach you how to select your proper undertone. How do you tell if your undertone is yellow or red? The first question that you can ask yourself is that in the summertime, when exposed to sun, when you tan, do you turn red and then brown, or do you go immediately to a dusty brown? If you go immediately to a dusty brown, that means that you have yellow undertones. If you go to a red and then turn brown, that means that you have red undertones. The second question that you must ask yourself is, do you have more blue or green veins in your inner wrist? Now this is important because I recently had a client tell me that she couldn't find her veins and she was asking me if it was because she was fat. The answer is absolutely, positively not. The visibility of your veins actually have to do with the size of your veins. Now, I happen to have very large veins, so it's very easy to see it. But if you don't see it right at your wrist, you can pull your shirt back a little further and then just kind of flex a little bit so that those veins kind of pop up there, which means just like pop your wrist, pop your hand back, and it'll cause those veins to pop up there. And now you want to take a close look at your veins. If you have blue veins, your skin has more pink reddish undertones and a cool undertone. If you have green or teal color veins, then that means that you have yellow undertones. So that means you have a warmer skin tone. So this is important when determining the color of your skin. It's usually the easiest way to tell. The other way to tell is if you look at the underlying color cast of your skin. Now this one may be a little more difficult, and usually a trained eye can pick it out right away. When you look on the inner arm or the side of your face, personally I think for untrained eye, the inside of the arm where the inside of the wrist is the easiest to figure it out. What you want to look at is the color that naturally comes through. So it's almost like an underlayer. So you're looking if it's more yellow or more pink or red. If it's more yellow, then of course you have yellow tones. If it's more pink, then you consider yourself a red undertone. Why is this important? It's important because many times when you go to the store, the person behind the maker counter may not be as skilled as you think they are. And a lot of times, especially for darker, more ebony tones, they often get mistaken for red because many people, even African Americans, will mistake a darker skinned black person and automatically throw them into the red undertone. Not true. If you look at the African American woman to your right, she actually has yellow undertones, and you can see the yellow coming up through her skin. So what happens is if you give her a foundation that has a red base, what happens then is she begins to look like a yam and will take on an orangish red color. Whereas if you put a yellow base on a red, you're going to look more ashy. And a lot of times if you have a clashing underbase with your foundation, it causes your face, particularly your cheeks, to look a little bigger, and it causes you to look like you're aging more because your skin has an unnatural pallor to it. Even if you're close to your skin tone, that undertone is extremely important. Okay, so now you're armed with the undertone of your skin and you're ready to go to the department store to pick out your foundation. Now, your foundations have ranges. First range is light. That's going to be your alabasters, your light beiges, moving a little bit into your darker beige. Then you're going to have your fair complexion. Your fair complexion is going to be your dark beiges, light bronze. You're going to start to get into tans. Then you move into your fair range, well actually your medium range, and that's going to be your golden tans, your nutmegs, things of that nature. And then from there you go into your darks, which are going to be your mahoganies, your ebonies, your cocoa brown, your dark almond. Those are in that color range, and they have all kinds of different names. It depends on which brand you choose. So the first thing you want to do is locate which color family you're in. So now you're in your color family. The next thing you want to do is look for the foundations that have the same undertone of your skin. And you can typically look at a foundation. If it's more of a tan color than tannish brown, that indicates a yellow undertone. If it has a slightly red or pinkish tone to it, then now you're working over into your red undertones. You want to stay on the undertones that are the same as your skin. Where you want to attest the foundation out is along the side of your jaw, or bottom part of your cheek. You want to apply it there. Now, other than blemishes, if you have any, you should not be able to tell the difference between your skin color and that foundation. When you do that, then you know that you have the right foundation. Now, if you put it on there and it's ashy or it looks red, that means you know you have the wrong undertone. So you want to look for something. So now you kind of have an idea, okay, well, this is what a red undertone looks like. This is what a yellow undertone looks like. Once you pick the proper foundation, you have to be careful in the department stores because the lighting can be a little tricky. So what you want to do is go throughout different places in the department store, look in the mirror, see if the color still looks the same. The last and final test you want to do right before you buy that foundation is walk outside into the sunlight. If it still looks the same when you're out in the sunlight, you definitely have the right foundation. Now, that is for your base foundation. Next, we're going to be picking your highlight color. Your highlight color means that it's lighter and it's going to bring out. Just like you highlight a piece of paper using that light marker highlighter, it's the same thing with your face. Where you highlight, and we'll get into that later, and there's a diagram, will bring out different portions of your face to make your face look thinner, sculpted, and more sleek. So, your highlight should be no more than 1 to 2 shades lighter than your base color and in the same family, meaning yellow undertones or red undertones. If you're a yellow undertone, it should be yellow undertone. If you're red, it should be red. Okay, and again, you'll be able to tell that by when you put it on your face. You know, if it's looking ashy, that means, hey, red undertone, you have put a yellow undertone on your face. If you put it on and it's looking orangey or reddish, hey, yellow undertone, you put a red undertone on your face. So look for the same skin tone. The third thing you want to look for is a contour color. Now for your contour color, it's going to be 1 to 2 shades darker, no more than 2 shades darker. And this is important because with your contour color, it brings in. If it's too dark, it will look like a bruise. And for my yellow undertone ladies, be careful with bronzers. Many of them do have a red base to them. You can still use them, but you've got to use them extremely sparingly so that you don't get that reddish look. Now, you can also use a darker face powder to do that as well. It's up to you, whichever you're more comfortable with. Okay? So, the other thing we need to get into is creams, powders, or liquids. Which one do you pick? If you're going to use creams, I would not suggest creams for people who have oily skin because creams have an oil base. So you're just going to magnify your face and it's going to be really, really shiny. If you have oily skin, I would recommend using cream to powders or liquids. Something that's going to absorb that oil a little bit. If you have dry skin, then I recommend using either a liquid or cream. Cream to powders can kind of make your skin look a little dry, and powders can make your skin look dry. Now, I want to caveat that because if you're using mineral makeup's a little bit different because it has reflective properties. So if you have dry skin, it's not going to make it look dry. It'll actually make you look like you have a glow, and that's for any skin type using the mineral makeup. Okay? Now, the next part we're going to go to is the contouring and highlighting of your face. Okay, so if you look at my diagram to the right, she has various areas drawn out on her face. And if you look, parts are labeled contour and other parts are labeled highlight. Understand she has that full cheek drawn in for the contour. That is not, it's not really your cheek. And we'll start with the contouring for that reason. So the contour is your darker color. And that's going to make the area that you put it in come in. So now we're sculpting our face. And we're going to use light and dark to bring out different parts of the face and bring in other parts to give your face a more slim, sleek look. And this is great, especially if you're trying to lose weight. It'll give you a little pick-me-up motivation because when you look in that mirror, you're going to have a face that looks like you are about 10 to 15 pounds smaller. And I know because I do it every day. Okay? So our girls must have our tricks. Anyway, for the contour, we're going to start on the cheekbone. Where you place that contour is right underneath the cheekbone. And sometimes it's usually a little darker anyway on your face. And you can see where to go. Now, you don't want to go all the way back to the hairline. You want to maybe stay a finger's length away, right along the bottom of the cheekbone. If you notice, the cheekbone does not go all the way back to the hairline. And you want to gently sweep up and put the contour there. What that does is bring in the cheeks. The next place you want to apply contour, and you can apply it, especially if you're not wearing mascara that day, you can apply it in the crease of your eye and bring it down along the sides of your nose. And that's going to actually, and really the way the diagram is done, you really want to take that contour and place it over the button of your nose, particularly for African American women, because what that does is it takes away some of the weight on the side of your nose without giving your nose that pointy look. So right before the button, right at the edge of the button, that's where you want to stop the contour. Okay? Then the next place we want to look at for contouring is the sides of your forehead. Now, if you already have a narrow forehead, you don't want to use that because then it'll make your forehead look even more pointy. So you have to decide, is that part of a contour for you? And if you have a bigger forehead, what I call a 5 head, then what you want to do is when you place your hand on your forehead, where that thumb is,